So, just gotta cool it a little bit. All in all, I'm glad I've got my pal here. I think. Respond in kind.
When did you guys move to Florida? Bill or Muriel, when did you come from Wisconsin to Florida?
22 years ago.
2 years ago.
We came when Nancy had her problem, not because of it, but I came down to be with her for a time. And the longer we were here, this was nice. This was the dead of winter when we came. Not really the dead of winter. That was pretty, yeah. And so we enjoyed being here, and no one doesn't enjoy being with, no one doesn't necessarily, but everyone enjoys being with their daughters. And I had 2 of them here. Sarah lived down by that time too. So that was a big factor. And of course, Nancy did fine. We were worried about her, but she was fine. And then we got a bonus, and that little kid over there.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't know about you. Well, you got a bonus, you get a bonus.
We're a package.
A triangle, a bonus. It's been great. And the grandchildren are superb, really superb, every one of them. I don't really see a lot of all of them.
How many grandchildren do we have?
We were just 2 back there, and no one had an answer.
Countless.
Ran out of fingers and toes.
Ah, right.
And great.
That might be easier.
No, I'm not sure. I counted about, I think about 26 was what I was up to.
Oh my
How many?
26.
But that's not,
There's 20, oh no, she's a great grandchild.
That's one
Where is
great
there?
Yes, yes.
no.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You don't want to forget Mary Reed. Time marches on. There's a lot of good things left, but
How many clocks do you have?
they're diminishing. They're just getting old, but we must have 20 clocks, don't you think, at least? We've given some away.
Why do you have so many clocks?
Here's a clock thing.
I like that. The only one that objects to that is
Richard.
is Richard. I can't stay in this house.
So that's where he sleeps there as he goes to Sarah. They're bing bong, bing bong. Oh, then I can go to sleep. I think it's a little much, but I'm so used to it, I don't hear it anymore. Well, let's not overstay our visit. We're very,
Just an old eccentric.
it's the old eccentric, makes that too.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Lots of people say you raise your children well and then you just let them go. Have you ever let your children go?
Just when they forced me to do it. Well, you don't have a choice, but you have to get into a mentality that says they've got to go up, they've got to be who they want to be. And if you've done a good job, they may wander from the track a little way, but they'll come back, they come back. I have had no trouble, seriously, with my children. Billy was a little different than the rest, Willem, because he had a different kind of life.
Mm-hmm.
But he calls and said, I love you, and I'm going to bring an airplane and take you to, where's he going to take me? Italy, where he now lives with his wife.
But you still think about them all
Everybody has
every
a place
day.
in your heart. There's no place when, if anything would happen to one of them, they'd be a permanent vacancy
Yeah.
forever. So take care of yourself. And you girls and boys do too, because it's the same for all of us.
Do you have a favorite movie of Willem's?
Let's think. I guess from the acting standpoint, I hate to say it right now because there's a war, but his war movie, Platoon, for the way his acting. And it was early in his career, and I was really impressed with that. Not so much for the content, but for the way he did his job. Yeah, I really don't go to a lot of his movies. Not because, I just don't go to the movies. I mean, they're so trashy. I'm trying to clean my mind.
It's about time.
I'm being misunderstood. I mean, the trash is coming in so fast. You have to say, out, I don't want to hear about that, I don't want to do that. And you finally think, I'm getting a little tired. Because now I'm 85, it's slowing down for me. But I really, I think it's a shame that we waste so much time on trash. You know, these stupid things that people watch every day. I mean, and you think, what do they gain from this? You know, I'm getting a little grouchy like old people do.
What about you, Grandpa? Which one is your favorite of Willem's movies?
Favorite movie?
Of
Willem's?
Willem's? Yeah.
I think Platoon.
Yeah.
It was his first too, and you're surprised that when they do that well.
He was an actor from the age of 5, I think. He had his own pursuits and he was totally unregulated.
Wow, that.
Yeah. And
But
he
he was
went
never
and
into
he went
drugs.
in, he had a lot of...
Sweetheart, mother's defending her son. He was never into drugs or anything.
Never,
Yeah, I do think
No,
that's
no,
remarkable.
He didn't smoke, and as far as I'm concerned, his alcoholic consumption is almost none. But I said, it came a time when he was through with high school and all. Then he went with to Milwaukee, Marquette University, because they had a good drama program at that time. And so he went there for a year or two, and he said, well, I've learned all I can learn here academically. If you're going to be an actor, you have to act. And so he joined up with just the troupe that just went around the countryside, you know. And a bunch of characters like he was, you know. And I said, well, okay, if you want to do something like that, why don't you go to a good school like, what are some of the big ones in New York?
Juilliard.
Yeah,
Right. I said, why don't you go there? And he did try there, and he didn't make it. And they later told him they made a huge mistake. But then that didn't particularly discourage him. And I said, well, if you aren't going to go to a authentic school, I don't want you just bumming around with a bunch of other characters, scattering around to the schools and so forth. Then you're on your own. So he was on his own. He asked for a little money once in a while. He'd always pay it back, but other than that, he's always been on his own. So whether that was a wise decision or not, I don't know, but anyway, it worked out all right. But he had his own temperament and his own ideas, like his mom.
Right. Is that good?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
You're a good actor.
But Barbara was really the brightest.
I made a mistake very beginning with my words, because I said, you were talking about the kids, and I said, Barbara was the brightest one. Except for Nancy.
And Sarah.
And
Oh, and
Sarah.
Sarah. the baby.
I want to ask you a
I'm almost
question.
50.
There's someone else in the family who keeps saying I'm 50, and I say, no, you can't be. You have to be older than 50. No, but you're the youngest.
She's the baby. She's a great dancer too. I enjoy going dancing.
There are a few other dances around here.
We dance about every other week.
Saturday.
When you should
Out
see
of here.
them. It's
That's
for the
great.
elderly.
That's great.
I want to ask you a question. I know that you have never had alcohol in your home. Why did you make that decision, or when did you make the decision? Or it just never happened?
You asking her or me or
Either
either
both.
one?
Well, I went in a home where there wasn't any liquor because my Scottish mother wouldn't stand for it, but my Catholic father liked his beer, but I never saw him drink excessively, ever, because he wouldn't do that. And I don't think, it was a social, once in a while, a social drink. And my mother was very disapproving of that, but he was a very good dad, and I loved him, and he was fun. He was so sweet to me. I was the youngest child. And if I started to cry, he said, "Was magst du, mein Kind?" And he'd put me on his lap and rock me in this big leather chair in our kitchen. And I remember that as a little girl. One thing that I really remember about that. He's sweet. My mother was very good, but she was a moralist and do it right, don't do the wrong thing. But that's where we got our character from, whatever character we have. Whatever character we have. Whatever character
You
we
do.
have. Do I have any friends?
Yeah.
On my side of the family, my dad was very strict. Very strict about alcohol. There was no alcohol served in any form, wine, beer, or anything. And he was very much against smoking because he thought it was a step in the wrong direction for young kids to start smoking. And he seemed to think that it affected their ability to perform academically, whether it was chemical, or whether it was psychological, or whether it was just the phase that they were in, I don't know. But he was very much against smoking and very much against alcohol. And my mother was a WCTUer, in those old days, where alcohol. And they saw so many tragedies. Even when I grew up, in the saloons there, they'd throw the people out of the saloons and they'd lie. When I was a kid, they'd lie outside the saloon. They'd freeze to death. That was not uncommon. It was terrible things that happened from alcoholics. So, and then as far as my mother was concerned, she had her father. Her father was a farmer, like most of the people at that particular age group. It was an agrarian economy at that time. Everybody was farming in that section, pretty much. And he used to go on a little bender once in a while. And she said then he suddenly decided to give it up. And she said he was so much better after he gave up his alcohol. He was a new person. And she said she just loved that. So she was very much against alcohol. And he became more of a crusader against alcohol, where he had been an imbiber before. And so I think that's why they felt that way. And I guess I came up in my mother's tradition, and she came up with her mother's Scottish. So we said, but that's an individual decision somebody has to make on their own basis, and if they don't have any side effects, untoward side effects, that's one thing, but so many times it does disrupt the family circle. And it's a real problem for